project is Racism, the Confederate Flag by Ira David and Miranda Lefebvre. There is a dispute between keeping the Confederate flag or taking it down. Some people think it's a sign of hate, others see it as a sign of heritage. The debate between Black people who say it is a hate for their people and their culture, and then Southerners people say that it's a sign of their death and war and their heritage. It is a sign of their culture, and it's a sign of honor for fighting in the war. In the Bill of Rights, there are 3 amendments in particular that were created after the Civil War that relate to this issue: the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 15th Amendment. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment granted Black citizenship, and the 15th Amendment gave Black men the right to vote. Even though these 3 amendments were supposed to bring Blacks and whites together, it actually created segregation. One of the main reasons is because of the Confederate flag, because it was a sign of hate and disrespect for all Black people. Our nation believes that change and flexibility is very needed because our history changes things, and we evolve and we need new things. So the flexibility and change created the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment, and it also decided to take the Confederate flag down. It is the reason that now we are able to discuss rules and laws and see if we're able to change them. The federal government is in charge of our entire nation, and even though the Confederate flag is only part of the states, it's only half of them, they needed to decide what they should do with the Confederate flag, because half of the states want to keep it, the southern states, and then the Black people and other citizens of the United States believe that we should take the Confederate flag down because it's a sign of hate. So the states and the federal government needed to come together to decide how are they going to handle this. Checks and balances. The 3 branches of government, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch, all go back on each other to make sure that none of them get too high. And so all of the groups decided that the Confederate flag needed to come down. But if one group believed that it should come down and the other groups believed it should stay up, then it would have been more of an issue. Popular sovereignty. We the people have a right to tell the government what we think, and we get to tell the government our opinions on what's going on. So the Southerners kept saying to the government that they want the Confederate flag to stay up in the Capitol because it's the sign of their heritage. It's a sign of going to war and fighting and all the lives that were lost. And then for the Black people and then the other people who believe that the flag should come down, think it's a sign of hate, and they wanted to tell their government so they can take action and they can decide which side is more right and more morally right and what they should do. Separation of powers. In the 3 branches, there are 3 different sections of jobs that you have to do. The executive branch enforces the law, and also they're the face of the law. People show their love or hate of the Confederate flag to this branch. The legislative branch, they make the law. The Congress saw a problem with the Confederate flag and heard the people talking about how they either like the flag up or they hate the flag up, and they decided they needed to do something about it. And the judicial branch interprets the law. They make sure which side is constitutional. They decide if there's a problem with the flag staying up or if there's a problem with the flag coming down. Limited government. The government doesn't have immense power. We the people decided that we wanted our voices to be heard because when we were in Britain, we didn't have any voice. So we created limited government. The government can't show love to one state in particular. They can't show favor in one state. Or in this case, like half of the country. The southern states might get really annoyed that the government is favoring not them, or if the black people might think that the government is favoring the southern states. The government needs to decide which is better for the country as a whole. The unwritten Constitution. This is part of the Constitution that wasn't written, but it was developed through customs and traditions. One of them is judicial review. The judicial branch was never assigned to make sure that rules are constitutional, but they have forever during their law and court sessions. The judicial branch decides if it is unconstitutional and if we need to change the law. So they had to decide if the flag flying was unconstitutional or if taking it down was unconstitutional. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned how the Confederate flag and the constitutional principles are intertwined.